Hey everybody, welcome to the first episode of The Other Half. I'm your host, Jacob Trout. I've played Counter-Strike for almost about 3 years now. I've been to a LAN event recently. I've played in multiple different CS teams. And I'm with my friend and teammate, Robby Goode.
What's going on, guys? I have about 3 years Counter-Strike experience. I've went to the same LAN event that Jacob just recently attended. Um, I've known him for about 4 months now, and I'm stoked to be on the show.
Alright, so let's get right into it. As you can tell from the title of this video, this show is going to be focused on a preview and a predictions for the Dreamhack Marseille event that should be starting up tomorrow as of recording this on Tuesday the 17th. Alright, so I'll just do a quick rundown of the groups. So Group A is going to have FaZe, Cloud9, G2, and Envious. And a reminder that the top two teams in each of these groups are the ones that get out. So 2 teams in each group advance, 2 teams are knocked out, 4 teams in each group. Right, so Group B is Mousesports, SK, NIP, and Valiance. Group C is Fnatic, Navi, Renegades, and Tyloo. And Group D is Liquid, Astralis, Space Soldiers, and Gambit. So the first game of the day tomorrow is going to be FaZe versus Envious. So what are your thoughts on that, Robby?
Um, well, right off the bat, I think we have a clear favorite here, FaZe being the favorite.
For sure.
I saw like a Reddit post today that said, after months of hard work, Envy made it to top 30. Top 30. So I think they're placing really.
I think that perfectly symbolizes how good this
Yeah.
team is.
Yeah.
Great.
So they're 29th right now, playing the top. So
Right.
clear favorite FaZe.
Absolutely in agreement with you. All right. So the next match is the Mousesports versus Valiance game, but I'm just gonna go right and finish Group A before we go, and I'd rather go in terms of the groups rather than chronological order. All right.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
we'll finish out the Group A second match here. It's Cloud9 versus G2. I really think this is a very close game. You got Cloud9 getting Taco on their team, or yes, right? Or no, that's Liquid.
No,
Cloud9
that's
got
Liquid.
yeah, Cloud9. Yeah, that's Liquid. Who the fuck did Cloud9 get? FNS.
FNS.
FNS. And then Skadoodle's coming back even though he's gone for like 3 days. Right, so FNS. My bad. He was in talks. Taco was in talks with Cloud9. Alright, shut up. um, right, so FNS, the first in-game leader, real in-game leader since Sean Garris.
Yeah.
And back in like 2015, I believe was the last time he was on the
Yeah,
team.
yeah, yeah. 15, yeah.
Yep, and then G2 is going to have Mixwell on their team replacing Shox. So,
Yeah, I forgot about that.
right, so although Mixwell won't be opping, because Kenny S will be opping, I think Mixwell will be more of a secondary opper, and what you also have to consider is that since Shox is no longer on the team, they don't have an in-game leader. It's going to be NBK picking up the in-game leading. And he's been an in-game leader multiple times throughout his career, but it's mostly only been a couple weeks or a month here and there as like small little stints, and where he said, hey, I want to be the in-game leader, and then after a month or a couple weeks, he really just drops it. He's like, yeah, I don't want to be the in-game leader anymore. He has kind of a notorious history for picking it up and then not liking it all and dropping it again. So not a lot of hope. What are you thinking for this matchup?
Um, well, what I'm gonna go off of is maybe like the last tournament, which is like the last major tournament, so E-League, where G2 and Cloud9, I think Cloud9 beat them out in a best of three,
2-0.
2-0. So yeah. Um, Cloud9 obviously coming off a huge win, E-League. FNS, with the addition of FNS, I haven't seen them play, so I can't really speak on FNS's IGL abilities. But with the new addition of Mixwell, I think that G2 could be a factor in the longevity of Cloud9's advancement in this tournament. So I'm gonna give the edge to G2.
Okay.
Uh, matchup.
Yeah, I think it's very close. I do think that the main reason they brought FNS into this team was they were originally going to cut, or it seemed like they were going to cut um, Skadoodle, and like basically they did. FNS is supposed to be, hey, if anyone can make Skadoodle work, it's FNS. So the point is that Skadoodle's best run in the team was the 2015, the summer run, that Cloud9's famous summer run, where I think they finished like second at 2 events. two very good events, and I believe Sean Garrett is on the team at that time. So what people are saying is that Skadoodle is best playing with an in-game leader, a good one that knows what to do with him. So if FNS knows what to do with him, which people are saying that he does, we'll see if that brings the best out of Skadoodle. So
Yeah.
we'll see if Skadoodle can play very well, and if you have Automatic and Tarek all playing well, and of course you got other players like Rush. FNS doesn't even have to frag, and this team is dangerous potential.
Yeah.
But right, so
Basically, if Tark and Tim are going off, you can pretty much guarantee that they're gonna show up. You know.
right, so yeah, but G2 I do think has the favorite for me because I don't really see Tarek or Automatic having consistent amazing performances. They seem to interchange. One game Tarek is top fragging. One game, Stu was top fragging. One game Ska was top fragging. One game Automatic. They seem to do it by committee, not necessarily one guy consistently performing at a top level. So I do have to definitely give the edge to G2 in this one, although I think it go either way, especially with the limited amount of tape to study, FNS with this team. You never know how this team could work with a real in-game leader like that. So I do think that Kenny S is just too good of a player, and if Kenny S and NBK and Apex are firing, this G2 is really hard to stop.
Yeah, especially with the new addition of Mixwell. Let's go into this a little bit. Just Mixwell is known to be like just one of like the greatest people like outside of game, because I know with his time in Optic he was loved basically, and he was just like their favorite person of all time. It seemed like Optic really loved him. So I think he's gonna mix very well in this roster. Um, Pun intended. And I think he's gonna really show up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I think Mixwell is a great all-around player. He can pick up the op, which obviously he's not gonna do very much of besides secondary opping with Kenny S on the team, but he can definitely pick up the op as he was the main opper in Optic previously, and he's a great fragger, and I think that's probably the role they're gonna try to put him in as a main fragger for this team. But he definitely can do a lot of different things. So great all-around player, and yeah, I'm definitely going to be expecting G2 to win this match. So it looks like G2 and FaZe will end up playing in the winners bracket, the winners match. So we'll come back to that later, and we'll just finish out these initial group stages first. So cycling over to Group B, it's Mouse Sports versus Valiance for the first game. Some game.
Yeah. This Mouse Sports, easy, done.
Right. So moving on to the
next
next game. Yep. No, this one is going to be a good one. SK versus NIP. I think it'll be a deceptively good one. I think you have Stewie 2K, which is everyone's looking to see SK on LAN with Stewie, playing against I think, consistent NIP team. I don't think they're amazing. I think they're good for that. What do they win? That like DreamHack Malmo, or what's their event? They have like the IM
Oakland.
Oakland. Yes, that's G2. That's NIP. Excuse me, NIP's event, and they win it every year. So I feel like NIP's a lock for that event, or at least one event that they win a year. It's kind of similar to Mouse Sports. I think they're a 1 event to 2 event winning a year team. I don't think this team is ever going to be a threat to be one of the top teams in the world, but I definitely think they're really consistent. I think when you have an opper like Draken, who is definitely not a bad opper, but not elite, I think he's a good opper, and I think I'd leave it at that. I mean, when you have Forrest and Get Right, those players, nothing like their counterparts in Neo and Taz. Whereas though you consider, those guys are the older guys. Forrest and Get Right are still killing it. Forrest is definitely the best player on this team right now in terms of raw fragging. It's absolutely insane. He's one of the greatest Counter-Strike players of all time. And just factor in other like entry fragger, like their entry fragger in Rez. This team is just so dangerous.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It was SK
Versus NIP,
SK,
yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah. I also think SK with the new addition of Stu, just he's obviously one of the best players on the team. I'd say like top 3.
Yeah, cold fur.
Cold fair Stewie, I'd say, and maybe Fallen on a good day. Um, but I'm giving the edge to SK on this match purely because they're younger, they're fresher, they have currently the best player on the world, Cold, and if he's going off, literally unstoppable. Um, so I'm giving it to SK, but
All
yeah.
right. Well, I would argue with you on that point of best player in the world. Personally, I'd give it to Simple, with Cold as a very close second. I think Simple single-handedly almost winning the final. Did you watch the Star Ladder event that happened recently? um, Navi made it to the final of Star Ladder, and they were up. I believe it was a best of 5 final. They were up 2-0 on Mouse Sports. It was one of the events that Mouse Sports has won recently. They were up 2-0, and I guarantee just trust me on this one. They had no business being in the semifinals of that event. Simple played out of his goddamn mind, and they almost beat. Edward is a bot. Zeus is absolutely horrible. Electronic is good for maybe 20 frags. Like, it's tough. It's tough, man.
Yeah.
Who's the other guy on their team? Flamey. Flamey's good, but that's just it. Just good. Simple is on another level. He's inhuman. I've heard
It
people...
seems like
They're good.
every team he goes to is just the best. When he's on the team, he's the clear best on every team he goes to.
Yeah, the Hellraisers, and then Liquid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's strange.
Yeah, then different iterations of Navi. Yeah.
But they can never place well.
I just don't think they put enough talent around him.
But
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. I think he's a really good player. But yeah, we can talk about more about him and Navi when we get there. So you're taking SK in this one. I think this is very close, even closer than the G2 Cloud9 one, in my opinion. But I have to go with SK for the raw fragging potential. Although I do think in the long run, in terms of who will win more tournaments, who will place farther, for an example, even in majors, I would say NIP will be better than SK for the reason that I think losing Taco as your supportive player, where now the only supportive player you really have is Bolts. I think Fallen plays pretty aggressively, and despite him being an in-game leader, I do think he's a real fragging in-game leader. And I don't think he does as much supportive elements to the team that someone like Taco is just an all-around amazing supportive player for this team. When you have someone like Fur, someone like Stu, someone like Cold, even Fallen, they all need space, and I don't think there's enough space on this team to take. So I really think people like Stewie are going to have to move into a role that Olafmeister had to play on FaZe, which is more of a supportive, more of an entry fragging role, something where I don't really think Stu's going to be able to be used to his potential. So we'll see. This roster could end up being like a FaZe roster, or what the G2 super team people thought they should be. We'll see what they turn out to be, but right now I do think they're going to be lacking that supportive element. But I am going to take SK for this best of one.
Okay.
Alright, so that will have been SK and Mousesports advancing out of Group B to, well, not advancing out of the group yet, but moving on to playing each other in the winners match for Group B. So moving on to Group C, the first match is going to be Fnatic versus Tai Lu. I think this match has sneaky upset potential. What do you think?
Fnatic Tyloo, huh? Well, Fnatic's they're pretty hot right now with the win at, what was it?
WSG.
WSG and the one before that. Cologne? Not Cologne.
I don't think they
won that one tournament before that. Against, Fnatic. Or against FaZe.
I think you're thinking of Mousesports. Mousesports won one. Mousesports won the one over Navi, and then they won one over FaZe, I'm pretty sure.
I'm thinking...
Or maybe they won that in the semifinals. I forget. Let me
thinking of...
Let me check.
I am Katowice. 2018. Katowice, they won against Fnatic, or they won against FaZe in the finals.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
they
maybe I'm
just
getting confused.
played out of their mind in that tournament. Flusha,
Actually,
especially
yes, I think I know what you're talking
acing,
about.
like,
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was a real
18 like
throwback to Flusha, and Crims played amazing.
exactly, exactly. So they're pretty hot right now. I'd say they're definitely a factor in this tournament. Don't count these guys out. I think they're back. I'd say like Golden, he's doing great as an in-game leader. I think he moved up from the Fnatic Academy team like 7 months ago, 6, 7 months ago,
Yeah,
and he's just
something
like
like that.
going. And yeah, I think I'm gonna give the edge to Fnatic, but Ty Lue, of course, don't count those guys out. They're pretty good. But yeah, Fnatic in that one, I'd say.
All right. I think you do have to consider how much of the whole thing with, I don't know if you heard that storyline a while back or on WSG, where Golden was actually already replaced. They already cut him, and they already had Exist on almost
Yep.
a done deal into the team. But after they
Yep.
won WSG, back-to-back winning events, they just couldn't
Yep.
cut him. So do you
Exactly.
think that have some that do you think Golden has some animosity? Do you think that affects their play?
Um, well, going into the WSG tournament, he was already replaced. I think it's pretty clear that that didn't affect him. Because winning WSG, maybe it's like kind of a throwaway tournament or like kind of a weird tournament, but like you still won a tournament against the top teams in the world. So I would say that doesn't affect his play purely because we've seen that it doesn't. So I don't know. I think you can just push through it and despite adversity, win some tournaments.
Right. So you're taking Fnatic in this one.
Yeah, I'd say yeah.
Right. Okay. The other Group C match is, and I'm gonna have to agree with you, but I do think I definitely could see a best of one upset where Tyloo plays out of their mind on a map that maybe Fnatic is
And
their third or fourth best map.
let
If
me
Tyloo
just
gets
see
good
Tyler's
bans,
lineup. I don't even know.
I think they cycled out
Mo,
a couple players.
DD,
Yeah, DD's good.
BNTT,
Yeah, it was like
somebody. I had
BN
never heard of any of these guys.
Betnet or whatever. I've heard about him. He was really
Yeah.
hyped up, but ended up being like, eh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just
I know
kind
DD, but like they're a couple decent players. But I definitely Tyloo's always been that kind of upset team, kind of like Space Soldiers.
I'm not really familiar with the Chinese CS scene. Or is it China?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay.
Right. All right. Well, we'll move on to the next match for Group C, match number 2, and that's going to be Navi and Renegades. This is going to be something. This is going to be a good one, I think.
Yeah. Navi Renegades. Let's see. Um.
I think Navi might just brute force this with Simple. I think if Navi wants to win, Simple needs to again play out of his goddamn mind, or he needs Electronic or Flamey to step up in a big way. I think
Yeah.
Renegades have Nifty, and don't sleep on Renegades. They're a good team. Nifty is one of the best offers in North America. They have a couple good pieces on their team like Jacom. Azur's decent, JKS decent, Ucillo shit, fuck that guy. But their team their team is pretty good though. I do think that they're definitely, in my opinion, the third best team in North America. I think they're really inching up to that secondary spot, depending on how these roster changes turn out for Liquid and Cloud9. But yeah, I think this can really go either way. What are you thinking?
Well, who's okay? Sorry, Navi Ren.
Yep.
I would say Navi.
Yeah.
I think something that puts this in perspective would be like, I was watching just a Reddit post, and it said, and someone's was like in an FPL match, they're like, so simple, you go B and kill 5, sure. And I feel like that pretty much sums up Navi's strats against teams. Simple is just so unbelievably good that I think with him going off, Navi would be unstoppable, basically,
Yeah.
against any team, especially
Any
of the
mix.
stature of Renegades, which is, I wouldn't say like tier 1. Actually, I guess the
I'd
lower
say
of
bottom
the
tier
tier
one.
1.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Navi Renegades, Navi 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I think this definitely has. I think that there's more. This has more upset potential than the Fnatic Tyloo one, for the reason that if Simple just plays decent, they're fucked.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but that doesn't even happen. So,
Yeah.
I say this is. I would say though, this doesn't have the most upset potential. There is another game that I think has the most upset potential here, and this is going to be coming up in a bit. So I do have to go with you, Navi. Simple's too damn good. So moving on to Group D, our final group here. Match 1 is going to be Liquid versus Gambit. I think Gambit was a very good team at the time they won PGL Krakow. Yeah, Dren was playing out of his mind as one of the best players in the world. After he switched over to in-game leader, he was never the same. He switched back to a fragger, but it seems like he lost that step, and he's behind. He's never been able to be that all-around jack of all... Well, I shouldn't even say jack of all trades, master of all trades. He was an amazing player. And, who is the second person on their team? I'm drawing a
Zeus.
blank. No, their secondary... Look at their team. Begins with an H. His name...
Hobbit,
yes. He was their second best player. And also a very good star player for their team. An amazing player. Their AWPer, Mo, has always been mediocre, but definitely not as good. In the coming months that they lost Zeus, they've never been able to find an in-game leader. Dren was at it, but it took so much fragging away from the team that any tactical mind he had was just completely obliterated by the lack of fragging Gambit had. Once they switched... Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, keep going. Since they won the major, I think they replaced Zeus. Zeus was on the team.
Yep.
And he took them to the major. He was their IGL.
Yep.
And since they lost him, I feel like they've lost a key part of their team that we saw that made them even a factor in anything. Like, I feel like after the replacement of Zeus, they've kind of gone exponentially down.
Yeah, and in my opinion, I don't think it's as much as Zeus is an amazing in-game leader, because you can see him with Navi and the best player in the world. He can't do anything. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's as much of him being an amazing in-game leader as much as I think it is someone taking the in-game leader role that isn't taking away from a role that's already on the team. I think the other 4 roles were pretty well defined and were pretty good. And I think if you put anyone else in that role, it's only taking away from what the team can be. And I don't think Zeus is an amazing in-game leader, but I definitely think he can do in-game leading better than anyone else in Gambit. Maybe a Dren. Maybe a Dren could do it a little bit better, but it's tough to see. With the results of the team got worse because the Dren couldn't frag. So it's tough, but I think Gambit is a broken team, and unless they get someone like Kerrigan, if that doesn't work out with FaZe, or a Exist, someone like that, unless they get someone like that, I really don't see this team going anywhere.
Yeah.
I think Liquid is
I
definitely going to take this best of 1.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely.
Yeah, and with Taco, onto Liquid, I should
Yeah.
add.
Yeah.
Onto Liquid. I think Taco's going to add a supportive element that NA desperately needs.
Yep.
Minus
I agree.
really Rush is I'd say the next best supportive NA player.
True.
But
I mean,
yeah, Taco with a
if
championship pedigree
yeah,
adds a
definitely.
lot to this team.
If Twist, Naf, and Taco are feeling themselves, basically, if Twist and Naf are feeling themselves,
And Elige, of
and
course.
True, Elige. If they're basically like, if 2 out of the 5 are feeling themselves, other than Nitro, I haven't really seen him perform incredible. Actually, no, he's been pretty good.
Yeah, he's been opping and
2
in-game
out of the
leading
5?
and entry.
If 2 out of the 5 are going off, I think they're a factor. Well, we
If you
saw
have
that.
3, they can't stop them. I think that's this recipe for
We
each
saw
team.
it at Katowice. They placed 3rd, I believe.
I know earlier in the year they had a lot of good events, like ESL1 New York 2017. They played in the best of 5 final against FaZe. That was about a year ago, or a little bit less.
Yeah, I think they placed like top 5 in Katowice, showing that they're not to be messed with, I guess you could say.
Yeah, definitely have some potential.
And, yeah, I'm going Liquid on this one.
Agreed. Right then. So the second Group D match is going to be and the last match of the group stage here is going to be this first round, I should say, of the group stage is going to be Astralis versus Space Soldiers. I honestly, I'm gonna give the edge to Space Soldiers in this one. I think this is the I think, as I alluded to earlier, this is going to be the biggest upset potential of any game. Um, I think Astralis hasn't looked very good. They've added Magisk to their team, replacing KRB, and I just think KRB was the entry fire they needed, and I don't think they have anything to replace his role in the team. I think KRB was just getting in to a good run of form and just figuring out his role. The best he can play it on their team. And I really don't think Magisk coming as the star player and the best player on Optic in the previous Optic lineup, if you remember the one that with Freiburg as their in-game leader, he was by far the best player. I don't think you can take a star player and now put him onto a team that already has Dupree opping and Device is playing one of the best players. I just don't think there's a lot of room for Magisk here.
I think looking at his recent stats, I think he's been doing good on Astralis. They got third at Katowice with this current lineup. I think, and Space Soldier's not even being seen at Katowice. I don't know. I think Astralis could definitely win this match.
Right, well, that's why I'm saying Space Soldiers. I'm putting them in the upset category. So I definitely do think the consensus favorite is Astralis, and I think in a best of three, it's a definite Astralis win. But in a best of one game, and what Space Soldiers are notorious for, where you have Calyx and I believe his name, what's his name, Snyder, or not Snyder, it's like Zontaris. Yeah, I know it began with the X-A-N.
Yeah.
Zontaris, yeah. It's like, I was trying to say Zonder. I wasn't really sure. I lost his name for a minute. But yeah, Zontaris and Calyx. I think you got two amazing players there that just aren't consistent. If they can find consistency for one map, there's no chance for Astralis, in my opinion. If you get Calyx on Zontaris going off, you saw Space Soldiers nearly beat out Fnatic in that best of three, or was it best of five final at WESG? Don't remember specifically.
I think it was BO5.
I want to say BO5 too. I think we're right on that one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I do think at a best of one format, I'm gonna say Space Soldiers gets this upset win, and I think earlier on that top three at Katowice for Astralis, I do think that was one of the earlier LAN events with Magic's on the team. So I take that with a grain of salt. I do think Astralis is the better team, but anything goes in best of ones.
True.
So
I mean, we have seen in the best of one format, we've seen things like what was that? What was that team's name? It was that E-League.
Vega?
And Vega.
QB Fire? Vega? Yeah.
Teams like Vega beating out FaZe in a best of one, which
Exactly.
is just so strange.
Yeah, and
and
they're like 3 tiers off.
Exactly.
yeah.
So, best of ones are obviously anybody's game. But coming back down to earth, I think that Astralis is going to beat out Space Soldiers.
Okay, I'm personally going to go with my prediction of Space Soldiers for this one, but for the purpose of the rest of this group, we're going to assume that Astralis makes it, because they are the favorite. So, alright, so we'll move into the elimination match. So the elimination match is going to be played between the two losers of Group A, Group B, and then Group C and Group D. So, Group A, the two losers we had were Envious and, I believe, Cloud9. So, Envious, Cloud9. I think you got to give it to Cloud9. These are best of threes. Or no, best of ones, I'm sorry. These are best of ones.
Yep, Cloud9, I'd say, yeah.
Yeah, so that would knock out Envious from the tournament.
I mean, yeah, this is all obviously hypothetical, so there's not too much analysis that we can do, I'd say.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I think a lot of the analysis is going to come after we watch the games.
Exactly.
After this event. Yep. So, I'm going to go, yeah, Cloud9 beating out Envious here. I just think the Envious is too bad. Even if they have a good performance, they're not good enough. I don't see it.
Yeah.
Too bad.
Yeah.
Group B elimination match is going to be NIP versus Valiance. Okay, so the Group C elimination match is going to be Tyloo and Renegades. This is close. I think, I don't know. I think either team, especially in a best of one format, could get this. I'm going to go with Renegades, but that's only because I know more about them than Tyloo. And I know that they have at least their star player in Nifty, who performs in almost all of his games. Whereas I'm not 100% certain of the star players on Tai Lu and how consistent they are.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Right.
So Ren
Yep.
over Tyler. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So Group D elimination match is going to be Gambit and Space Soldiers. I'm going to go Space Soldiers quite obviously. For me.
Group D is Gambit Space Soldiers.
Yeah, for the elimination. Although I definitely can see a world where Gambit wins this, but for the purpose of me going with Space Soldiers to beat Astralis, I certainly think that they'll be able to handle a Gambit team that I think is still lost, completely lost.
Yeah, I agree with that actually. Yeah.
Okay.
So Space Soldiers over Gambit.
Right. Okay. So now the winners match is going to be played between the two winners of Group D or Group A, Group A through Group D. So the Group A winners were FaZe and G2. Now this is a best of 3. So you have to extend this map pool a bit. I can't bet against FaZe in this one. I think FaZe lost their worst player temporarily in Olafmeister. I think he was playing the worst on the team. In terms of the roles, obviously in terms of Frag and Kerrigan was playing the worst, but take it with a grain of salt. So I do think Kerrigan's more important to the team. I think that the least important person to this team was Olafmeister. And whereas I don't think Exist is coming in to a great, I don't think he's going to be able to replace the fragging potential that Olafmeister has. I do think Exist could play the supportive role that Olafmeister was playing. And where you have Nico going off almost every game, Guardian going off almost every game, and Rain recently not being so great, but definitely having that potential to be a great player. If those 3 go off, and you add in that Exist as a really good fragging in-game leader, I don't see how you can out-frag this team.
I 100% agree. Yep. FaZe over. Just because also like
G2,
G2 with the loss of Shocks, I feel like is definitely a heavy hit for them.
Yeah, and NBK's in-game leading.
Yeah, Shocks was fragging. He could have been seen as one of the best top 2 on the team, I'd say.
Yeah.
And yeah.
What do you think about this series? In terms of 2-1 to 2-0.
I think definitely G2 in a best of 3 format is nothing to be messed with. Because they are notoriously known to not be good at best of 1s, and I'm pretty sure they're known to not be great on best of 1s. But I think they're gonna take it. Oh, is it a best of 1 or best of 3?
Best of 3.
Okay, yeah. So I think that FaZe is gonna win the best of 3, but I feel like it's not gonna be a 2-0. I'm going 2-1 on that one.
Okay. I'm personally going to go 2-0, but I don't think it'll be a blowout. I think it's going to be I'm thinking on G2's map, like a 16-13, 16-12, 16-14, maybe even overtime, like a 19-17 or something.
Yeah.
But I think for FaZe's map, it'll be more like a 16-10, a 16-11. So I do think both games will be relatively close, but I do think it'll be a 2-0. I think with the maps that I think G2's going to allow some maps through. They're going to allow a couple maps that, like Mirage, like Overpass, like Inferno, like some of these maps are some of the better FaZe maps. If FaZe can get on Mirage, Inferno, or Overpass as 2 of the 3 maps, I think they're just going to win both. I think they're too good on those 3 maps in comparison to G2's skill. If G2 can get on a map like Train, like Nuke first, that's where the series gets interesting. If they can get as one of those first 2 maps as Train or Nuke, then I can definitely see it going towards G2 for at least a map. But right, so Group B winners match, like I said, we'll have Group A will be FaZe advancing from that. So FaZe will have made the playoffs of Dreamhack Masters Marseille out of Group A. The Group B winners match is going to be Mouse Sports and SK Gaming. And a best of 3.
Just the way that SK's been looking is like not on the same level as Mouse.
Yeah. Mouse coming off two tournament wins, I believe. Yeah. I'll double check that now.
Yeah. Check. Let's see. Mouse team HLTV. Where do I even check? I don't even know.
I just if you click the right bar, like the 3 lines at the right, their menu tab, you just search in Mouse Sports and click on their name. It shows their recent events.
Okay.
Right. So yeah, they finished first at V4 Future Sports Festival, and they finished first at Star Series. Like that was a Star Series one they beat against Navi. And then
Mhm.
V4, they beat Virtus Pro in the final. V4 Future Sports Festival was a 600K event that had Mouse, VP, Hellraisers, FaZe, Game Agents, X Tatus, Dark Tigers, and XCOM. So a couple teams there that aren't really known, but the good teams
Yeah.
being FaZe, Hellraisers, Virtus Pro. Well,
Yeah.
they're not even Hellraisers, not even Virtus Pro. But they beat VP in the final. I wouldn't say it's an amazing win, but definitely a legit one.
Yeah. Nothing to be taken away.
And a 600K event. They
Yeah.
won about they won 240 for first. So
Mm,
I think Mouse Sports is coming into this match as a favorite.
I
Shockingly.
agree. Yeah.
How do you think this shakes out in a best of three? Because you know that SK has been that team that's just beaten you with their consistency, and they've normally been the team that down the stretch they might not be better than you with raw lane, but they're down the stretch they close out matches better than almost any team, and they're just a very clutch team.
Um, I would say
But Mouse is riding the hot streak. It goes both
true.
ways.
Mazda is riding the hot streak, and with the new addition of Stewie, I haven't seen them play. To be honest, I don't really have much of an opinion on SK,
Yeah.
other than what I've seen from other things, which is a great best of three team, a team that's a huge factor in tournaments and could easily take any team on at any time. I would say. Um, So I would personally right now give if they were to play right now, give Mouse the edge. I'd say.
Okay. I think I have to agree with that, but I definitely could see a world where Stu and Cold and Ferg's going nuts.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Right. So the Group C winners match then would be, let me see here, it'd be Fnatic versus Navi. This is a tough
Mhm.
one. Fnatic has been the hot hand, but they did win WESG. So take that with a grain of salt. They didn't face any of the good teams at WSG. The hardest team they faced was Space Soldiers, who literally almost they threw the game. A Space Soldiers win that should have we don't even have Space Soldiers advancing to the winners match right now, and they almost lost to them.
That's true.
But
I'm gonna give
yeah.
it to Fnatic.
Fnatic, yeah, I think if Flusha plays the old Flusha style we haven't seen in a while, Crims has been absolutely insane. Golden is that in-game leader. Lekro has been awesome. I think the biggest question mark on this team is JW. I think he's been performing pretty mediocre for the past couple years now, the past year or so, year or two. I think JW's really been missing in this team, and they really haven't had a lot of hopping because of it. And I feel like JW has been missing, and Flush has been missing. But with this recent surge of Flusha just being absolutely godlike,
Mhm.
you can't count him out.
True.
He lifts his mouse better than anyone in the world.
That's true, especially with his fishy plays. No. Yeah, I'm gonna go Fnatic on this one.
Unless simple hard carries for a Fnatic, for a Navi dub.
That's true.
But
But what if he doesn't?
right, but can simple
In a
hard
world-
carry over a best of three against a team that's notoriously known for playing a similar loose fragging style?
Yeah, that's a good point. Navi is if Simple goes off in two of the maps, obviously that's all it takes, but like I think Navi could do it. But if he's not, then I feel like Navi's screwed.
Yeah.
And so that's why just my rational point of thinking in my head is going more towards Fnatic.
Yeah, rational point of thinking that would have assumed FaZe would beat Cloud9 in the major. Also have to think about that.
That is true. There is always a chance. But
Yeah,
weighing up
the Fnatic is just so deeper. You just got Crims, Lekro, Flusha, and then even JW if he can get back to the level that we've seen him at in the past. For Navi, it just seems like it's simple and simple.
yeah, true.
Right, so
Flamey's not to be counted out.
Yeah, but
But
you know, if he plays good, it just I feel like Edward and Zeus are such dead weight on the team, where Zeus doesn't add almost anything tactically because it seems like he's trying to give so much room for simple that it just deletes any form of tactics in that team. And even in general, I don't know if he's tried to implement tactics or is purposely playing this freeform style. They haven't looked like a tactical team whatsoever. I have any idea how to play any map. It's just simple. Run around the map on CT and T.
true.
I'm gonna go with Fnatic for this one.
Me as well.
All right, the Group D match, and that's definitely a good one to watch. That Navi Fnatic game, definitely gonna be a best of three to watch.
Yeah.
So Group D's match, winners match, is going to be Liquid versus Astralis, and like I said, potentially Space Soldiers, but we'll go with Liquid versus Astralis in this one.
Um, Liquid Astralis. Ah,
I think I gotta
Liquid
give it.
has been pretty hot.
Yeah, I agree, but I do think I have to give it to Astralis. I gotta see more Liquid before I'm set on Taco making the shift to a supportive team in a North American team. Because he does
True.
have Fallen as an in-game leader. He might join Liquid, but having to be play support player under Nitro setup, which he might not agree with. There might even be personality clashes from playing in a great in-game leader such as Fallen setup to a newer in-game leader such as Nitro setup. Might be vastly different. He might not even be the same player.
And we haven't seen too much of um, Liquid.
And right, like you said earlier, we know about Astralis' top 3 in Katowice.
Of course, yeah. Probably gonna have to go with Astralis, but
Another good matchup to
Liquid,
watch.
yeah, it's gonna be one to watch, yeah, for sure.
Right, okay. So, now we will do the... I think, oh yeah, we already did the elimination match. So now we'll cycle over to the decider match. So I believe what we had, just to recap, the teams making it to the playoffs at a Group A, FaZe. At a Group B, I believe we had Mouse Sports. At a Group C, Fnatic. And at a Group D, Astralis. Those are the teams making it to the playoffs of this event. For the decider match, now this is going to be a best of 3 match between the teams that won in the elimination round and the teams that lost in this previous winners match. So the Group A decider match is going to be, let me think. So we had G2 losing to FaZe, so it's going to be G2, and then we had Cloud9 beating Envious. So it's going to be a rematch G2 Cloud9, but this time in a best of 3. What are you thinking?
Who's in the best of 3 again? Sorry, I missed
Oh, not a problem. Understand it. It's going to be
Yeah.
G2 and Cloud9 on a rematch.
Okay.
This time best of 3, not best of 1.
Gonna have to go with Cloud9, I'd say.
In a
Just
best of 3,
because-
yeah. And I feel like by this point, I think all things considered, after they've played each other once, I feel like FNS will be better, will have more success adapting than NBK will to this team, to each other, because they will have already played once in the best of 1 earlier in the tournament.
I don't know if I agree with that, just because NBK has been on G2 and with this same original 3 it was. He's been with these guys for forever, it seems like.
Right, but I
through
do
different
think that
iterations.
tactically, that FNS is one of the best in-game leaders in North America, and
True.
I really just think FNS has the advantage tactically over NBK, and I do think as a result, NBK has a lot of experience, but I really think his hubris might get in the way, especially after beating them in a best of 1. All right, let's beat them again. They're just an NA team. Remember,
True.
I'm pretty sure MBK has won a major before. I believe they won Cluj-Napoca. And obviously, Cloud9 just won a major, but I really think that hubris and that beating up on NA teams that's been around for a while is really going to be prevalent. And I think they'll really underestimate Cloud9 in this one.
Is that prevalent though? Anymore?
I still think the
People
team
are
just
saying,
disrespect Cloud9, especially after they're arguably their best player in Stu leaving. And they looked like shit after the major.
no.
I think a lot of people are over
I
that
feel like
Cloud9
the
hype train.
NACS isn't really. It's kind of a joke now. It's no longer to be taken seriously. I don't know. I definitely wouldn't count them out.
Yeah, me neither.
I'm gonna have to go with. I don't know. I'm still gonna have to go with Cloud9 on this one.
Yeah, I think I'm in agreement with you on there. With you there. So,
Mm.
Cloud9 winning this best of 3 would mean the end of G2 in this tournament. They will not make playoffs. So, that will be a top 8 finish for them, but that's all. So it'll be Cloud9 and FaZe advancing from Group A as the top 2 teams, with G2 going out top 8 and Envy going out in the first round out of Group A. So Group B will be, let me think here. So we had Mouse Sports advancing, so it would be SK versus NIP. Again, another rematch because NIP would have bodied Valiance in the elimination match, knocking out Valiance from the tournament. And there'll be NIP back against SK in this best of 3 decider match. So what are your initial thoughts?
Well, I don't really know. Just because SK's new lineup with Stu, I don't really know if I have much of an opinion on this specific.
It's definitely a tough one. I don't know where to go. I thought they were close enough in the best of 1, especially a best of 3. It just makes it even closer.
Yeah, very true. I'll probably give the edge to SK.
I was thinking that too because of the firepower advantage.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, so top 8 finish, respectable finish for NIP. SK and Mouse Sports will be advancing out of this group, with Valiance finishing last, and NIP grabbing a top 8 finish at Dreamhack Marseille. Group C, I believe this is the group with Fnatic. Yep, so Fnatic won this one, so it'll be, they beat, in our predictions, will have beaten Na'Vi. So it'll be Na'Vi versus Renegades. We had Renegades beating Tai Lu in the elimination match. So it'll be Renegades and Na'Vi in a best of 3.
I'm going Navi.
Yeah, I think simple over best of 3 over potentially 3 maps. Eventually he's just going to take over the game.
Yeah,
If
I
not
feel
from
like
the
it's
get-go.
fairly clear.
Yeah, me too. So Na'Vi winning this one, I think this is a pretty good finish for Renegades, all things considered. Top 8 at a stacked event. Really, the only bad teams here are Valiance and Envious.
Yeah, I agree.
Top 8, respectable finish for Renegades, but gonna give that to Na'Vi. So gonna give it Na'Vi and Fnatic coming out of the groups, and Tai Lu finishing last, and in Group C, and Renegades getting that top 8 spot. Group D, we had, let me see here, we had Astralis beating Liquid and making it to playoffs. So it would be Liquid versus Space Soldiers. We would have had Space Soldiers beating Gambit in the elimination round. So Space Soldiers, Liquid, best of 3. I was talking up Space Soldiers a lot, but in a best of 3 against this kind of Liquid team, I'm personally giving it to Liquid.
Me as well. Yeah.
I do think Space Soldiers has a lot of potential, and down the line, their team could definitely develop. When you have players like Zontaris and Calyx on your team, you can really do anything. It's like a pocket phase.
Yeah.
They're the CZ of Counter Strike. Space Soldiers is. But but yeah, I think with just all the different players such as Liege and Twists, I think are just better versions of Calyx and Centaurus, and you have Taco and just Nitro. There's just so many different avenues where you can pull just awesome star talent from this team. And also, Naf, I believe he's on Liquid recently. So yeah, there's just so many different. I don't think we've talked about really Naf that so much this episode, but yeah, there's just so many different ways they can get frags. tier. And
Yeah,
I think
I
a little
agree.
bit more than Space Soldiers. So I do think this is I could definitely see a 2-1. And we haven't been keeping
Oh,
up on the best of three, 2-0-2-1s. But I do think this could be a 2-1. I can definitely see Calyx and Zataris pulling off a one crazy map and then losing two.
yeah,
All
I
right.
agree.
All right, so that's going to close out. The playoffs are going to be set. To recap that for Group D, it's going to be Gambit finishing in last place, winless. Surprising for a team that won the major about a year ago.
Yep.
It's almost a year ago coming now because it was the beginning of summer, right?
Oh yeah.
So it's about a year ago now.
Yep.
It's going to be Liquid and Astralis advancing to playoffs, and Space Soldiers finishing top 8. Another decent placing after Space Soldiers, coming off that close one at WSG.
Top
But-
eight's respectable.
Absolutely. So we can do this rather quickly. We're about 50 minutes so far into this, so make it about an hour episode. It's going to be the quarterfinals matchup. So there's going to be 4 quarterfinals. Let me check this out again. Okay. Okay. Right, so I think how this Are you looking at the same format that I'm looking at? The same page?
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how this is gonna shake out, because if you have 4 teams coming from the deciders and 4 from the winners, that's 8. Well, I guess. Oh yeah, I'm retarded. Okay, 4 matches, 2 teams in each, 8 total. I'm retarded. Okay,
Okay.
we'll just advance through that. All right, it's 7:30. I'm an idiot. We'll continue.
All good, man. Okay. So
Right.
who we got?
So the first quarter, I don't know how they're gonna divvy up these quarterfinal matchups. I can't imagine they're gonna have Group A play against each other again. So I assume it's gonna be something like Group A versus Group D, Group B versus Group C. But I can't really know how they're gonna shake it up. So for now, we're just gonna give our raw predictions on what teams we'll think are gonna make it win this event. We'll just cycle right into who we think can reasonably win this event out of the 8 teams. So I'm gonna write them down real quick. So it's just the 8 teams we had were just FaZe in Group A. Yeah, it might be nice if I just organize this by group here, and I can remind you as well. We had FaZe, Mouse from Group B. Well, I guess we had FaZe, Mouse, Fnatic, Astralis. Then we had C9. Who's the other team there? C9, SK, Liquid, and Navi.
Okay.
Yeah, Navi and
FaZe, E9, Liquid, Navi. You said?
yeah. Well, there's 8, so it's gonna be FaZe, Mouse, Fnatic, Astralis, C9, SK, Navi, and Liquid. So there's gonna be the 4 teams that are gonna be playing in the quarters. So, well, let's just start. Who do you think is making semis? Because we can't know what the bracket's gonna be yet. So out of FaZe, the 4 teams are gonna advance out of the 8. So who do you think's making semis out of FaZe, Mouse, Fnatic, Astralis, C9, SK, Navi, and Liquid?
FaZe, C9, Navi, SK.
Okay.
Did you say SK's in the group?
Yep. Yeah, obviously, we will never know, based on what the quarterfinals matchups are.
Yeah.
But I think it's gonna be. I think I have to go with FaZe, Mouse. I'm gonna go with Liquid, having a really good run through this tournament, and I'm gonna go with Astralis as my sleeper pick to come out of this. I think this is where Navi ends. I think Simple can't hard carry past these kind of level of teams, and once you get deeper into this tournament, potentially. But I'm not so set on it. So I don't think Navi's gonna make it. I'm not sold on. I don't think C9. I think Liquid's gonna emerge as the best team in North America. I think C9 will take a step back. I don't think FNS will be able to figure out Skadoodle as a player. I think Fnatic will play well, but it will dip, and they won't play at the god tier level they'll need to be to make it out of the quarters. And this one, I really think it's going to be FaZe, Mouse, and Liquid. I think Liquid's going to just steamroll over, like maybe not steamroll, but I think they're going to play very well, and it's going to be a breakout tournament with Taco on their team. And Astralis, hopefully, I think Astralis is going to hopefully figure out how Magic works into their team.
Yep.
And I just think they'll be the sleeper pick to come out into the top 4 here.
All right.
Yeah, so the semifinals, obviously 2 will advance to play in the final.
Yeah.
We have different lineups, so we'll just go past it since we have different people. Who do you think in general is going to be in the final? And we'll talk about who will win it. Who do you think the 2 teams in the final will be?
Let's see. I don't know how FaZe is gonna play with Exist. Obviously, just because he's new and all that. SK and FaZe for at least my 4.
Okay. All right. Who do you think is winning that? Who do you think is taking home the Dreamhack Masters of Marseille trophy? And I can check how much money that'll be. Let's see. Dreamhack Masters Marseille. It's a 250k prize pool. So that's the pool. So they're probably taking like 150 or something.
That's it?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's a normal 250k event.
Yeah, I'll probably go with FaZe in this one.
I
just
you know,
want
if it
them
was
to
a
win.
750k or a 500, you'd probably be picking SK.
Yeah, probably. I just want to see FaZe win, to be honest.
Me too. At this point,
Just after
I
their
feel-
2 L's in the finals.
I feel
Okay.
bad. I just feel bad at this point. Their team is so stacked.
Yeah.
Just give Nico another trophy, please.
I know, yeah.
Right. So and Guardian, man, I just feel so bad. Right. So I am gonna go with FaZe in this final, playing against. I'm not gonna say Mouse. Mouse is in my top 4, but I don't think they'll rematch Mouse. I think. I think this is going to be a throwback. I think they're going to go with I think they're going to match against Astralis. I think FaZe is going to beat Mouse in the semis, and I think Astralis is going to beat Liquid in the semis. And I think Astralis will have a tournament where they haven't played one in a very long time. In the finals, it seems like they haven't played in the finals of the tournament for a while, and they'll be playing against. I think they'll be playing against FaZe in the final. This one. Let me double check on if this is a best of 5 final. No, it's a best of 3. I'm gonna have to give the edge to Astralis in this one. I think, like NIP, this will be an Astralis once-a-year tournament and in a 250k tournament environment where they're new with Exist here, and I do think it'll be a little bit of a choke coming out from FaZe in this one. I think it'll go to a 2-1. I think it'll be a last map kind of game. I think it'll be a map. I think the series will be a series where it's like. I think Inferno will be banned, and probably like a nuke or a train ban from FaZe. I think the first map is probably going to be a something like a Mirage pick for FaZe, then maybe an Overpass pick for Astralis, and then I'd imagine a decider of potentially train, cash, nuke, really. Not so much cash because FaZe has been willing to play that, so that might come out with a they might come out and ban that, but I really do think it's going to be something like Mirage, then Overpass, then maybe like train. And I would obviously vary that between like maybe Inferno, Overpass, and train, based on the bans, the first bans from Astralis. But I do think a map that Astralis likes, an Overpass, maps they could just flex to the maps that FaZe aren't necessarily as good at. Outside of Overpass, a Mirage, and Inferno, FaZe has been struggling a bit.
Yeah.
So I think this is going to be an upset win for Astralis. I think this will be the only win they'll have in 2018. I think FaZe will definitely bounce back and win at least 3 to 4 events this year, but a smaller 250k event with Exist in their lineup, I think I'm just going to have to give this one to Astralis on a sleeper pick. So there you have it.
Alright.
I'm gonna have Astralis over Phase 2-1. You had, what was yours again? Phase over SK. What are you thinking? 2-1. All
Yep.
right. So that's going to be our DreamHack Masters Marseille predictions. We will make a recap video sometime after the event. We'll either make it a couple days after, maybe a week after, depending on our schedules, our availability, and our time to analyze these matches. So this video is going to be, it just turned an hour right now on
Alright,
on the second. So there we go. Unedited. You heard it all as it came. With no edits here. We're about it. We're legit. We're real AF on this podcast.
Oh my gosh.
So tune into episode 2 of the other half. When we release it sometime after this event. Thank you all for watching.